work with the kids. I don't want to come up with a plan and then come to you one day and say, all right, Eric, this is what you're going to do. What I really would rather do is say, we're going to sit down as a family and the teacher and say, all right, here's the problem. We're going to talk about it. The next time this happens, this is what we suggest. And I want to hear from the kid. Do you think this will work for you? How do you feel about it? Is this something you think you could do? If you say yes, let's try it. And I'll let you know. If it doesn't work, we'll come up with a new plan. And by the way, parents, you might hear this plan and you might say, I don't know. I have to think about it a little bit. Maybe it'll take you a day or two. Let it go through your mind, think about it, and then we'll talk in a couple of days to see if it's a plan you like. But when there's bullying going on, somebody's already taking power away from the target. I don't want to come in as the parent or the teacher or the principal and say, this is what you got to do. Now I'm taking more power away from you, and that's not fair. We're going to work as a team. We want to keep you safe. We're going to come up with a plan. And if we come up with a plan, is the child safe? Is the child continuing to be safe? Is the concerns of the child starting to fade? Can the child sleep again? Is the child eating? Is the child comfortable going back to school, being on the bus? If it's working, fantastic. And let's put a time frame on it, okay? In 2 weeks, we're going to meet back. Is it working or not? Do we have to tweak the plan? Because look, I can come up with a plan. It might sound like a great plan. Maybe it's working. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's partially working, and we got to tweak it just a little bit just to fix some of the little problems that we didn't realize were coming up. But we'll get you safe, okay? Physically safe and emotionally safe. We're going to do it, okay? As a team, we're going to do it, okay? Okay. All right. By the way, there are times when parents say, sure, you're talking to me about my kid as being bullied, but what about the kid that's being bullied? Here's this big kid bullying my kid. What are we going to do about this kid? I want to know where he lives. I want to know what the consequences are. He or she is supposed to be punished and all that. Parents have to know that by school law, the school cannot just say, Tracy's the one who did it. She lives with her parents. This is where she lives. This is how we're addressing it. They cannot tell you information about that child. Does that child have a disability? Is that child on a special IEP plan? I want to know. What's on that plan? Can't tell you. You can work with the school focused on your children. They can't give you information about the others, even though you want to know. And it's important to know. It would be against the law. They could just focus on how they can help your child. And they will address the other child or people involved, but they may not be able to share all the information that you want. What not to do? Parents, don't assume that you're the only one that cares about your kids. Believe it or not, teachers and the school system, they care about your kids. Keep that in mind when emotions are running high. All right? Don't make negative assumptions about the staff. In other words, oh, we know that teacher. Oh, you know, she drinks, she goes home. She gets abused by her husband. He gets abused by his wife. They don't care what happens to the kids. Don't talk about that. Keep it positive, keep it professional. There's a lot of emotions, but if we want the kids to be brought up and act maturely and raise them to be mature young men and women, we have to role model that. Now, that may almost seem silly that I put that up there. Unfortunately, my guess is Donna. I think you're the only principal here. I don't know if I have any other principals. Oh, Gail, assistant. You probably have heard where parents come in and say things about other teachers, about other parents. And I often try to tell people, stick with the facts that you know and about your family. Don't start talking about others. Okay, don't threaten or intimidate. I'll sue, pay your salary. Working with your child. Listen and be empathetic. When kids come home with the issues about being bullied, listen to them. Let them talk. All right? And you'll start to get the information, the who, the what, the where, the whens, the whys. I think that's the 5 W's. Let them talk. Even emotionally, let them talk. Maybe you were bullied as a kid and you say, that happened to me when I was a kid, and I'm not going to let it happen to my kid because I love my kid, and I'm not going to let that happen to my kid. So you start talking and babbling. Shh. Okay, so we have to talk to Dad about relaxing the emotions, and also gets over emotional because they're human beings.
She starts yelling about her
Right. And that's why.
Makes absolutely no sense when she's in a very emotional conversation. So
She makes no sense when she gets very emotional. You know what? The funny thing that took me a long time, you can learn now, you want to know the funny thing about parents? They're actually human beings. Which means that they some control. You tell mom that time when you have a conversation, just let me talk. I know that, you could tell them, you could remind them. Parents need reminders too. Just let me talk. And I tell the parents, let the kids talk. And by the way, no offense, but sometimes what happens is kids don't always say all the information. They say the information as they know it or they want to see it. They don't necessarily say what they did perhaps to cause some of the problems. So just by listening to the information over and over again, parents can start to get information that's actually consistent and real. Okay? Another thing about if you want to stop your child from being bullied, make changes, build skills. Nobody ever deserves to be bullied, ever, but it happens. And one of the reasons it happens is kids who are, I said earlier, they're passive or they're provocative, which means that they don't have a lot of skills necessarily that they bring to the table, which means you could be the nicest kid in the world. Oh, the adults love you. But if you don't have some skills that other kids like, you're going to be pushed off to the side, which makes you more vulnerable to bullying. So are you a good athlete? Are you funny? Are you smart? Are you good at computer games? Do you have, let's say, musical skill? Just something that other kids appreciate. If you have some of those skills, you're lessening your vulnerability to being bullied. If you have emotional skills, you don't get all crazy and turn red and cry. That's a skill too. You can be in control when somebody teases you, taunts you, or makes fun of you.
in my school, really the kids who get the most attention and stuff are really the people who are either good athletes.
The adults may like it, those skills. Some they don't care, some don't like the skills. Point is, those kids who get picked on the least have skills that other kids like. Hopefully it's appropriate skills, but not always. The point being is that one way to limit bullying is to build skills in kids. So it could be, I knew a kid, when I was a kid, we used to play a lot of softball. Well, it was part of this group for the summer. It was like a summer camp place. And there's this one kid who was always in right field. He always batted last. And of course, we put him in right field because the ball never went there. So he was bored. He was terrible at it. Never got any better. So this happened. As I got older, I started thinking, wow, if I had a child who was not a naturally gifted athlete, maybe what I would do, and if that kid was my kid, is like when the other kids weren't around, maybe I would take them to a separate field. I would actually practice, for hours on the weekends. Can you catch the ball? Let's practice catching. Let's practice hitting the ball. Whatever skill that it was. And then in a few weeks, bring him back to the group and say, hey, look what I can do. He would, even though we were never really mean to the kid, he was always that kid on the side. But if all of a sudden he, quote unquote, brought to the table that he can get base hits, that if the ball was hit to him, he can catch it, believe me, his popularity would have been brought up. Now that's just one example of athletics. It doesn't have to be athletics. There's lots of different skills. It could even be video games. It could be card games. It could be playing musical instruments. It could be dancing. Build up the skills. We all need this. Those people have more skills. They're more apt to get better jobs, become more groups as they become 15, 25, or 45. And one way to do that is something that I use right here. This is in the book, Tracy. You'll have that. These are questions, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Before you start looking out there for more friends or new friends, look inside. if you look in this, it's working with your child, and you can add questions. In my free time, I like to, what does the kid put out? Watch TV. An activity I'd like to do more is ski. When I'm by myself, I like to go for walks and read. And you could see what this is up there. You then look at this as the parent or the guardian of a child and say, what are some common denominators? There's a lot of outdoor things. Outside, hike, climb rocks, play baseball, coach, go for walks, ski. Wow, maybe I could get my kid involved. Maybe I can get them involved in something like this. Or even self-defense classes. All right, maybe we don't have the money or we can't drive an hour to go skiing. I can't do that, but can I work on baseball? Can I go for more hikes? Are there groups that go for hikes? Can he join the Boy Scouts? Oh, he joins the Boy Scouts. Well, Girl Scouts, I get more skills. I have more self-confidence. I have more self-esteem. By the way, I also make new friends. Oh, now I'm walking with my head up, my back straight. I'm less vulnerable to being picked on. And by the way, if it's that social aggression where this is my group, but they don't treat me very well, I'm always quote unquote the dog, okay? Well, if my friends don't treat me well, if I don't have a lot of other friends or support systems, here's my choice. I either hang out with you and I'm basically abused or treated poorly, or I hang out by myself and I spend all my time by myself. But if with the help of adults, I have these different groups to go to, my baseball friends, my church friends, my Boy Scout friends, my karate friends, you know what? You're not going to treat me well? No problem. I'll hang out with these kids. These kids treat me great. Wonderful. Oh, these friends go on vacation and I can't go because I don't have the money? That's okay. I got the friends over there at church. I hang out with them. I become this social butterfly. This is how we protect our kids from being bullied. You can't always stop everybody out there from bullying you. Life is full of mean people. Most people are really nice. I've traveled around the country. Most people are nice, caring, empathetic. Most people are nice. But mean people are out there, whether you're 10 years old or 30 years old, all right? But if I could build up some of my own skills and my own self-esteem with the help of loving mentors and teachers and parents, it limits my vulnerability. And that's what we're doing with this strategy. As a reminder, the other work that we do and PAVE does to prevent bullying and violence, domestic violence, intimate partner violence, or any type, is also working those people that like power and control, how we use it for good instead of evil. How to help other people in our community get involved if they see or know about bullying, when to get involved. That's different. Today we're talking about how to build up the self-esteem, the resiliency, and the power of those kids who don't feel empowered because they're being picked on. Questions or thoughts? Actually, we just kind of talked about that, so I'm going to leave that go. Questions, thoughts, comments, feelings? I answered every single question. That's good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, is it almost 7:30 or 6:30? What time is it? 6:30. Oh, okay, very good, excellent, okay. So, the idea here is, with PAVE, if there are problems and you're not sure whether it's in your life, there's a hotline for PAVE, 442-2111. Okay? You can always call, get information. All right? If you have questions about your child, you can contact me right here. You can see PAVE Youth Educator at Gmail. I have some YouTube videos. If you go to SM Breakstone, there are a variety of videos that you could use. I'm making some more. I'll be adding some more in the next few months to get more information. The book up there is actually written for adults, teachers, for classrooms, but all the lessons can be adapted for not only older students, all right, but the lessons can also be say, hey, I'm just going to use this to help my child, my individual. It doesn't have to be a classroom. I do have some here, just to let you know, but at Amazon.com or some other places on the web, you can probably get it cheaper than I can get it for you. So, if you don't have any other questions, I'll be here for a little while. We have lots of snacks, actually. And once again, I'd like to thank Donna McKenzie, principal of Marley Stark, Kim Funk, part of Applegate, and Tracy Benjamin, who is with Willowbrook.